My name is Mitchell Saddleback. I'm feeling nervous and excited. Excitus. I tear myself down and then I build myself back up again. My pre-game show is mostly just going through my notes and yeah, just kind of, you know, picturing myself succeeding, I guess.
Perfect.
We love to make you laugh. You're very, with all the jokes we have. You're very, really funny. That's why we do what we do. You're very, really we love funny. To make you laugh. You're very, really Vancouver, we love your laugh. It's YVR Funny.
Welcome to the show, Mitchell Saddleback!
Oh, this mic is sweaty. Feels like I'm holding a peeled banana. Dante Mitchell Saddleback to see you guys soon. Hello, my name is Mitchell Saddleback. I am from the Samson Cree Nation in Musqueam, Alberta, and I am very excited to be here at YVR Comedy. How's everybody doing? People watching in the digital realm, that's cool too. I got some jokes here somewhere. You guys like impressions?
Yeah!
Me too. Just kidding. I wish I was one of those comedians that had like a lot of like really funny impressions and like sound effects and stuff when they told their stories, but all my impressions sound the same. My Louis Armstrong is just my Cookie Monster. And I think to myself, what a wonderful cookie! Thank you. My Marvin the Martian. Ready? Space modulator. It's just my Ray Romano. Thank you. My Smeagol from the Lord of the Rings. Oh, you stupid fat hobbit! That's my impression of the Queen. There's a longer version to that joke, but we gotta keep this G, so. Just kidding, that's stupid. This is my impression of Justin Trudeau. I'm just kidding. Thank you. I got some jokes here somewhere. Okay. So I went to school in a very small town in Alberta called Wetaskiwin. And it was so small, we had our prom on like a curling rink. They just put boards over the curling rink and they were like, go have a prom. At my school, there was this, like around the perimeter, there was a barn and like a farm and they had horses. And I loved going to see the horses. They were like, you know, we just got to see horses every day. And then one day for a field trip, we went to go see a movie called Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, where Matt Damon plays a horse. Anyways, there's this native character in the movie, and he says, "You'll always be a part of my heart, spirit which could not be broken." And I loved that line. I thought it was so powerful. So after the movie, we went back to the school, and I just saw a movie about a horse, so I wanted to see the horse. So I ran up to the horses, and I was like, you know, I touched to petting his forehead, just pretending it was Matt Damon. And I was like, "You'll always be a part of my heart, spirit which could not." And then my elbow touched the electric fence, and we both got a shock, and the horse took off. And then I heard the substitute like, "Mitchell Saddleback! Did you just punch that horse in the face?" And I didn't punch the horse in the face, but I had to go to detention, and I will not punch horses in the face. Brought a letter home to my mom. She was like, "You punched a horse in the face?" Was the movie really that bad? It was. Jokes here. You guys want to hear a poem?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I, you know, living in Vancouver, I decided to write about something that, like, you know, it reminded me of Vancouver. So this is a poem called All the Cops That I Like. And this isn't a piece of trash, by the way. I don't know how to put this light, but I never met a cop that I ever really liked. Popo, Fuzz, 5012, they're all so lame. I have little respect for the world's largest gang. My love for the police is very conditional because all the cops I like are fictional. Here's a list of some favorites of mine. 21 Jump Street, Police Academy, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Even if you don't dig them, I really like Chief Wiggum. Axel Foley, John McClane, Magnum P.I., Rush Hour 2, and that guy with sunglasses from CSI. Time Cop, Super Cop, Super Trooper, Superbad, RoboCop, and Paw Patrol. I wish Commissioner Gordon was my dad because he knows Batman and that'd be fun. Leslie Nielsen from The Naked Gun. Officer Jenny from Pokemon has the answers. Osmosis Jones, Inspector Gadget, the Pink Panthers. Even the dad from Family Matters. Oh, Ice-T from Law & Order SVU. But to tell you the truth, my #1 cop who wins this fight is Bella Swan's dad from the film Twilight. Team Charlie, otherwise ACAB. There's some more jokes here somewhere. Can you check your back pocket, please? Can you bring that up here? This is also a magic show. But we're on the clock, though.
My bank card or one of those?
One of those.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's your name again?
Dakota?
Give it up for Dakota! We don't, she's sitting beside me.
I have 6 of the skits.
I'm not racist, but if you're a straight white male comedian who is shorter than me, I don't really care what you have to say. Should have took the bank card. So I got some more jokes here somewhere. It's in my sock. If I don't find them on me, I don't say the joke. Yeah. So in Edmonton, in Alberta, we had this radio station called Power 92. They used to play today's best music. Now show me my money. They had this radio edit of Shaggy's "It Wasn't Me." So my whole life, I thought the actual lyrics to that song were, "Picture this, we were both wearing aprons, cleaning up the bathroom floor." And then I heard the actual song. I'm like, why don't you stop lying to women and start taking responsibility for your actions, Shaggy? Thank you. Let's see out of here. Did I mention that I went to a Catholic school? I learned 4 really, really important things in Catholic school. How to count and do math, #1. #2 is how to make friends and keep them, as shown by all my friends who showed up. We'll add crickets in post. #3 is I learned how to memorize things, you know, like Matthew, Judas, Philip, Bartholomew, Andrew, Thomas, Simon, Jude, James and John, and James and Peter the Rock. Those are the apostles' names. Those are 12 guys who hung out with Jesus, and I remember them, but I don't remember my own postal code. And I also learned how to act in Catholic school. You know, act like I believed what they were saying. Yeah, Jesus walked on water. Sorry. So yeah, I'm an actor. I do actor things. I've been acting, you know, well, my whole life. I've been wearing white people clothes, pretending I'm something I'm different. I started professionally acting when I was 15, and I've been going to like a lot of like, you know, auditions. And in auditions, you get these like these direction that's like, you know, can you look more stoic? Can you look like you just killed a buffalo? He's dead. They're all dead. Yeah, so like, you know, I've been finally getting roles and stuff. I just want to be like good representation for like Native youth, you know, and that's what I want to be. So that's what I'm doing. But thank you. My mom's here. See, I got some jokes here somewhere.
All smudged up.
Here it is. So I'm gonna read you guys another poem, but I have to read it again. So this is my last poem, and then I'm gonna get out of your guys' hair. You get my shirt? I had to get this shirt made because I'm all smudged up. So I wanted to write about something that I absolutely love, and I was thinking about all the things that I love, you know, what brings me joy. So I ended up writing about bannock. If I were to name a constellation, I'd probably name it bannock. You don't need a telescope to see it, you can see it from any hammock. There'll be the brightest lights in the sky, a bannock loop. Slowly dip it into feast soup, the constellation, stargazing. That one over there? That one's bannock with raisins. To the left is split and bannock with a homie. To the right is bannock and bologna. That one points north. Guess how many pieces Muslim has had? 1, 2, 3, he's on his 4th. Bannock and spam, bannock and jam. These are all part of the same bannock constellation fam. There's learning how to make bannock with mom, and there's Lake Gookum smiling on. Her bannock was power. If you connect them all together, they make Robin Hood from a bag of all-purpose flour. You tell me your bannock sign, and I tell you mine. We align. You grab my hand and I try not to panic. Twinkle, twinkle, little bannock. We see a fallen bannock, and upon it we wished. What if under the bannock I held you close and we kissed? What if you and me go fishing in the dark, lie on our backs and count the bannock where the cool grass grows? Ooh! That poem's called I Can See the Bannock Listed in Your Eyes, and now I'm hungry. Thank you. My name is Mitchell Saddleback.
I love hypnotizing the audience and having them listen to me and think the way I do. I think that's my favorite thing, is when the audience is like just so focused and listening to me, and I gotta remember that they're listening to me. They're not like, it's not like a dead room. It's like, oh yeah, they're listening to me. Like, so I don't know. I like being on stage. That's like my favorite place to be. I think what I don't like about stand-up is, I feel like sometimes, say a bigger comedian will come to the show and he'll bring a bunch of friends, and then he'll do his set, and then all of them will leave, and it's just like, I don't know, like we're all in the same industry, and we're all like pouring ourselves out there, and we're like practicing this like art form, and I just feel like it's kind of rude sometimes when a large group of people, or like, you know, like sometimes your friends will be like, I'm gonna be late, what time are you up? And it's like, don't come. Like, if you're gonna miss everybody, like don't be rude and come in halfway. I don't know, there's just some of that stuff, I don't know, it's kind of lame. Or like when there's comedians that are like talking through the whole show, it's like, I like listening to the comics, because it's a show, right? And so, I don't know. Some of my influences, I grew up, you know, really loving Mitch Hedberg. You know, I grew up on like Chris Farley movies, and I think my Gookum, super funny. I used to always make her laugh. She used to always make me do impressions of Elvis. She'd be like, she would call me baby. She'd be like, baby, do Elvis. And I'd be like, can't get enough new sugar crisp. And it's like, I don't know if Elvis ever said that, but it was just like, I would always love making her laugh, and I felt so accomplished when I would do that. My brother is probably one of the funniest people that I know, and when I make my brother laugh, it's like special. My mom's super funny too. Just conversations that we have, people just like listening to us talk because we have such a fun way of conversing. Who else? Robin Williams. You know, Conan O'Brien. I grew up watching a lot of Conan. I just love how like theatrical they are, and I remember watching this thing where he was talking about how he wants the entire family to be able to enjoy his show. That's why he comes out dancing and like, I don't know. I just love visual and yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of comedians too that I really love in Vancouver that are like up and coming that I just love seeing what they do. Yeah. When I was younger, me and my brother, I have an older brother, and he would like to watch stand-up, and that was like a thing we kind of bonded over. So we watched a lot of stand-up. I probably shouldn't have watched when I was younger, but I was always like a class clown, and like, you know, I went to Catholic school, and I was the only Native kid in the school for like, you know, up to 8 years, and I was kind of an outcast. I was this, you know, I kind of found humor, and I would always try and I would have goals for myself. Like, I'm gonna try and make the entire class laugh today, or I'm gonna try and make the substitute laugh. And I remember just getting like these laughs when I was super young, like probably like grade 2, grade 1. I remember just kind of sitting and just thinking like, I just made everybody laugh. That feels good. When I was in grade 4, I did a talent show, and I didn't know nothing about like, you know, like performing or anything like that. And I decided to do a magic trick, and I had one magic trick in my repertoire of magic tricks. And it was a disappearing penny act, and like I did this like really theatrical performance with one of my friends, and people were laughing. Like, I went up there and did one magic trick, and people were like, "You're so funny." So that was a good feeling, and I don't know, yeah, making people laugh is just always something that I felt like I was good at, and I just like exploring that, and you know, what is funny to me and what is, you know, comedy is really subjective, but I've always just found that people just like my personality, and yeah, I'm a really quiet person until I'm like in front of cameras or like on a stage. I like to keep to myself and like just kind of observe, and yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, I just found a lot of joy in laughter and making people laugh, and I'm addicted to it. I remember there was this one time when I was walking by a comedy place, a comedy shop, what do you call it, a comedy club downtown. And it doesn't exist anymore, but I remember walking by it and I was thinking like, you know what, in one year, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. And maybe a month later, one of my friends, he was doing a show and they needed somebody last minute because somebody dropped out, and I couldn't sleep for 4 days, and I just went and did this show, and I was really funny. I killed. My comedy is like very different from when I started doing comedy, but like I fell in love with it. I just knew that it's and the place was packed, you know, like there was so many people. It was during the Olympics, so there was like people behind me on the sidewalk watching, and there was people in front of me, so I had this like 360 audience, and yeah, I just remember it just feeling so good, and I recorded it, and I walked home that night, and I listened to it probably like 30 times, and I was like, oh my God, this is nothing's gonna be the same. This is my life now. Yeah, I did get a lot of strange advice. I remember one time, like I get super nervous before I do a set, and well, at least I used to get like so nervous that I'd be shaking. And I remember a comic saw that I was nervous, and I was like, you know, trying to drink my water, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm just really nervous." And he's like, "Go have a poop. It'll help. Trust me. Just trust me." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I couldn't, and I just ended up going to the bathroom and peed sitting down, and you know, not really helpful, but you know, there's a lot of comics that come up to me and practice their native jokes on me. I found that to be kind of a thing. Like, I don't know how to get, you know, how to get them to stop doing that. But it's just like, I don't know, I wish that there was more respect, I guess, when it comes to like white comics doing material about Indigenous people. So that's not really like you know, advice that I was given, but I just found that to be kind of a thing that I was dealing with almost at every single show. Is that like comedians would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I got this good native joke. I want to practice it on you." I'm like, "Don't. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care." But yeah. Advice for comedians: if you want to do that, if you want to be on stage, try it. Like, even if you're scared, just try it, you know? Like, if you have a lot, I've been blessed to have a lot of people around me that push me to do things and help me out, and you know, give me advice on like, you know, instead of saying this, you should say this, or she'd say it like this. Like, I'm really blessed to be surrounded by a lot of really awesome and talented people. So that's my advice. Surround yourself with, you know, creative people that would push you forward and you know, like succeed in that. I think if you really want to try it, you should just try it. And if you bomb, you bomb. But like, if it's something you want to do, I think everyone should try something in performing arts. You know, like it's just a form of expression, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's a part of it that's really beautiful, that I really love seeing comics talk about their lives and, you know, and make jokes about, you know, sometimes really dark things. And yeah, I think that if you really, really want to do it, please do it, because this is the greatest feeling, to be able to share and do art. Yeah, I like to, I have a little idea and then build upon it. And I have little sticky notes that I put on my wall, and, you know, I would like this joke to go here, and it's right next to my affirmation board, you know, you're deadly kind of stuff. Yeah, just trying to be like super focused, whilst not trying to like trip myself up and forget things. But you know, it's just like it is a delicate dance of trying to be in the moment and you know, give my best performance that I can for that room. You know, I've done stand-up for rooms where it's just comedians, and it's a different experience than doing stand-up in a room full of like, you know, non-comedians, or doing stand-up in a room where there's like nobody there. I've done those shows. And you know, I've done like online shows as well, and there's absolutely nobody there. It's just me in my room and like the cat, and I'm getting no response from the cat. Yeah, you know, when I started, I was, you know, like I said, I just did dirty jokes. And I just kind of realized that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be a dirty comic. I don't want to be like, you know, just like, you know, a bunch of other comics I was watching. It was, I wanted to be unique and different. And like, you know, when I go on stage, automatically, just the way I look, sometimes it puts people in a like, oh, we're gonna listen to the native comic now. And it's like, well, yeah, you're gonna listen to the native comic now, so be quiet. I wish that there was more, Indigenous comics. I wish there was more Indigenous comics, you know? Native people, we are funny. We're funny people. And, you know, I feel like for a long time we've been like the butt of a joke. And now it's our turn to tell the joke. It's our turn to like, you know, like take up these spaces and really show people like we are funny, and we are like, you know, very, like humor is such a big part of our culture. And you know, growing up, it was just being surrounded by all of these comedians that were my uncles and aunties and gookums and my brothers and like my mom, and now my nieces. My nieces are so funny. Like they're I can't wait for them to try stand-up comedy, you know. And I always tell them, like, you can do whatever you want. You can do anything you want. Like we're at the place right now where we can joke about you know, things we couldn't joke about 100 years ago. And like, you know, like I always think about that, like when I'm on stage, like, wow, like 100 years ago, this would have been so illegal to have me here, and there would have been cops outside waiting for me, like, you know, like, so it's just a very exciting time to be an Indigenous artist. You know, like it wasn't even a year ago I lost my older brother to COVID, and that's kind of been something that I've been, you know, dealing with and grieving with. So like for me, sometimes when a comedian's talking about COVID, it's just like I kind of tune out, because it's just like, oh man, like I don't know, it's uncomfortable for me, I guess, because I just don't find it funny. You know, at least I haven't found any joke that I particularly like about COVID. And you know, I like jokes about the quarantine. I think that there's a lot of fun that people had, you know, by themselves. But I did a few shows online, and it was a very interesting experience. Like, not really getting a response when you tell a joke, so you don't know if it landed or not, and it just kind of goes out there into the internet, and it's, you know, I hope you like that. But I've gotten good responses after my shows, and even with those shows, I like to be very visual, because I took advantage of the fact that I am at home, so I have everything that I have at home, you know, like my repertoire. I can use all of those things that I don't necessarily have at a comedy store, like, 'cause, you know, I'm at home. It's my area. It's my zone, you know. So it's fun to be able to, even that, you know, like looking back at those shows, it was very fun, and it was very new, and I'm glad I did them, because I needed those experiences, and I miss stand-up comedy so much. So it was just awesome that somebody was like, hey, like, you know, let's do an online show. And, you know, I would even do it again. I think you know, sometimes people can't make it out to shows, and they, like, not every venue is, you know, accessible. So it's just like it's fun to be able to have a way to share at home. You know, that's why I'm so happy I'm doing something like this, because, like, you know, people can watch this at home. They could watch this on a screen. They can, you know, and you know, it's fun to just know that it's accessible to people, those kinds of shows. And yeah, but don't get me wrong, I'm very happy we're back. We can do stand-up in front of crowds again. I just missed it so much. I remember my first show back. It was just like, I was like, oh, like, I missed you guys, you know? I missed everybody. I missed seeing the other comics that I would see at shows, and you know, some just fans of stand-up comedy that you would see it in the audience, like, oh, you're back, like, oh, I've seen you a few times, and it's just, that's such a good, just a healing experience, I think, and I just, yeah, I enjoy that.
We love to make you laugh with all the jokes we have. That's why we do what we do. You're why we are funny. Richmond to Surrey, Delta and Deep Cove. We love to make you laugh. We love to make you laugh. We love to make you laugh. Vancouver, we love your laugh. It's why